The smell of old, dusty books and something else, something really gross and metallic, hit me the second Mark pushed open the door to the Blackwood place. Tiny bits of dust danced in the one sliver of moonlight coming through, lighting up these weird, carved symbols all over the heavy wooden doorframe. I'm Sarah, and I fix up old stuff, mostly furniture, but this place just felt wrong. Next to me, Dave, our tech guy, fiddled with his headlamp, his usual goofy grin totally gone, replaced by this tight, worried look. We were here because the new owner, a dude who looked like he hadn't slept in days, had called us about his new old house. He described this abandoned library, untouched for ages, now covered in these strange symbols, weird little altars, and this creeping, unnatural cold. And there was this note, stuck to the wall, written in some language nobody recognized. That's where my team came in. I deal with old things, Mark's a historian, and Dave's our gadget guy. I'd spent the last few days trying to figure out that note. It wasn't just old, it was ancient, like some super old language mixed with even older stuff. It talked about a binding of shadows, some kind of ritual to call out a really old, evil thing, a whisperer beyond the veil. The last couple of lines gave me chills. Once it's out, the weaver needs to be paid with bits of life, until the binding is undone, or the source is used up.
Looks like some freaky cult moved in, Mark grumbled, his flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. He's always been Mr. Logic, his skepticism like a shield against anything weird. Probably just some messed up kids playing make-believe. Kids don't usually know how to carve ancient symbols or write in languages that died out thousands of years ago. I shot back, my voice tight. My own flashlight found this huge, round symbol carved right into the marble floor. It wasn't just a drawing, it felt alive, like it was humming in a way you could almost feel. Dave's headlamp swept over the walls, showing more symbols, painted in what looked disturbingly like dried blood. EMF readings are going nuts, guys, he announced, his voice strained. Seriously, this place is buzzing with energy. As he spoke, a low, gut-wrenching moan echoed from deeper inside the house, a sound that felt like it was tearing the very air. It wasn't human, it was something huge, something in pain, or maybe something really hungry. We moved carefully through the place, every room a snapshot of some messed up ritual. Dried plants hung from the light fixtures, bowls of gross, slimy water had this weird, shimmery film on top, and dozens of creepy little figures, made of twigs and old animal bones, were just sitting around like creepy guards. In what looked like the main office, a huge wooden desk was covered in even more disturbing stuff. A tarnished silver cross-like thing lay next to a human skull, its eye sockets totally black, like they'd been burned from the inside. And right in the middle, a big, leather-bound book lay open, its pages covered in the same weird writing as the note.
This is their instruction manual, I whispered, my fingers tracing the old paper. The binding of shadows, they let something out. My eyes zipped over the words. It says this thing messes with reality, creates illusions, feeds on fear. It also says it's connected to a source, something that keeps it tied to our world. To stop it, we either have to undo the ritual or destroy that source. Suddenly, the air in the room got impossibly cold. The kind of cold that steals your breath and freezes your insides. The big book on the desk slammed shut with a loud bang. A shadow peeled itself off the darkest corner of the room, way too tall, way too thin to be human. It rippled, making the air around it look wavy. And from deep inside it, two tiny dots of evil red light flickered to life. Mark instinctively tried to raise his hand, as if to ward off a physical blow, but it froze in midair. He gasped, his eyes wide with a terror I'd never seen on him before. "Can't move," he choked out, his voice strained. "It's pulling at me." The shadow got bigger, unfolding like some monstrous flag. A whispering chorus started, not from one place, but from everywhere at once. A million tiny voices hissing right into our heads, talking about fear, hopelessness, and this never-ending hunger. "Welcome to the web," Dave, faster than Mark, tried to grab his flashlight. but his arm twisted in a really gross way, and there was this sickening snap. He screamed, dropping the light. This thing was messing with reality, screwing with their bodies. I was the only one who could still move, though it felt like I was wading through thick mud. The whispers pounded in my head, digging into my thoughts, pulling up my worst fears. You are alone. Always alone. But my brain, trained to pick apart ancient texts, fought back. I knew this was just a trick, a test. My eyes darted to the big book, the binding. That had to be the key. If I could figure out how to undo the ritual, maybe I could make this thing weaker, or even get rid of it. But how? The book was closed, and the whispers were non-stop, getting louder, promising crazy pain. Then, a flicker of light from Dave's fallen headlamp caught my eye. It lit up a small, detailed symbol carved into the spine of the book, the same symbol I'd seen on the doorframe, the symbol of the binding. It pulsed faintly, like a dark, evil heart. The book, I yelled, my voice a desperate croak. The symbol on the spine. It's connected to the door. Mark, still fighting against the invisible force holding him, managed to push out. The ritual, it's a circle. To undo it, you have to break the connection where it started. His words clicked. The carving on the doorframe, the symbol on the book, it was a complete circuit. To break the ritual, I had to cut the link. But with what?
My eyes landed on the silver ankh on the desk, its dull surface glinting in the dim light. Ankhs were symbols of life, of protection. Old stories often said they could mess up dark magic. With a sudden burst of energy, I lunged for the ankh, the whispers screaming in my head, the shadow getting unbelievably huge, its red eyes burning into my soul. My fingers wrapped around the cold metal. The second I touched it, a searing pain shot through my arm, but I ignored it. I stumbled towards the desk, the ankh gripped tight in my hand. The shadows twisted, turning into monstrous shapes, clawing at me, but the ankh seemed to push them back. Just a little. I pressed its pointy end against the pulsing symbol on the book's spine. A blinding flash of purple light shot out from the book, throwing me backward. The room shook like crazy, the walls groaning as if the whole house was screaming. The shadowy creature shrieked, a sound that ripped through the air, making the windows just explode. It started to fade, its shape flickering all over the place. Mark and Dave suddenly slumped forward, free from the creature's hold, gasping for air. What happened? Dave choked out, holding his injured arm. The binding, I whispered, looking at the now faint symbol on the book's spine. I broke the connection, but it's not gone. It's just weaker. It went back to its source. Where's the source? Mark demanded, rubbing his head. My eyes fell on that human skull on the desk, the one with the burned out eye sockets. It wasn't just some prop. It was ancient, incredibly old, and the faint, sickly glow was coming from deep inside its hollow head. The air around it still had that metallic, gross smell. That's it, I whispered, my voice barely there. The Weaver is tied to that. That's what keeps it here. Its power source. It feeds on whatever's left of whoever, or whatever this was. The whispers, though fainter, still echoed in my head, but now they sounded desperate. The source, can't touch it, can't break it. Mark, always the problem solver, figured it out before I did. We can't just smash it, can we? It's part of the ritual. It needs to be, and done in a special way. I remembered another part from the book, a chilling note about the binding of shadows. To truly cut the Weaver's tether, the source must be given to the empty space, not broken by man.
The fire, I said, a terrifying idea forming in my mind. The original ritual said the source had to be burned, to purify the connection, to release it into the void, not just destroyed in our world. Mark got it right away. There's an old, stone fireplace in the main hall. We'll need something to burn. We bolted back to the main hall, the faint, creepy whispers of the Weaver chasing us, trying to plant doubts and fear. The air got heavy again, that cold feeling coming back. But this time, it was mixed with pure, desperate rage. This thing was fighting back. Its hold on reality shaky, but still deadly. Dave, even with his messed up arm, managed to find some dry wood and old furniture parts. Mark, always watching our backs, stood guard, though his knowledge of history wasn't doing much against a ghost. I put the ancient skull, its dark glow pulsing eerily, right in the middle of the fireplace. As I did, the whispers surged, screaming in my head, trying to stop me, showing me visions of endless torture. Don't, you'll let out worse things. It's trying to trick us, I gritted out, my hands trembling as I held the ankh over the skull. It doesn't want to be unmade. Taking a deep breath, I lit the kindling. The flames caught fast, licking at the bottom of the skull. As the first bit of fire touched the ancient bone, a piercing shriek ripped through the house, a sound of unbelievable pain and fury that shook the whole building. The house jerked and shuddered, plaster falling, wood groaning under some unseen force. The shadow of the Weaver, now huge and monstrous, burst out from the floor, its red eyes burning with a desperate, all-consuming hatred. It lunged at me, its creepy claws reaching, but Mark, even though he had no weapon, yelled, his booming voice seeming to make it glitch out for a second. Dave, smart as ever, grabbed a loose piece of timber and swung it wildly, connecting with the dissolving form, buying me precious seconds. The skull began to glow brighter, like it was burning from the inside. The whispers turned into one long, drawn-out cry sound of pure, raw suffering. The air filled with the smell of burnt electricity and something incredibly disgusting. Then, with a final, heart-stopping pop, the skull just crumbled into a pile of fine, dark ash. The fire in the fireplace roared once, then instantly died. The terrifying shadow vanished like smoke. The horrible cold disappeared, replaced by just the normal chill of an old, empty house. The silence after that was total, unnerving.
We just stood there, breathing hard, the adrenaline slowly leaving our bodies. The house was quiet to quiet. The symbols on the walls and floor had faded, barely visible in the moonlight. The Blackwood place was empty again, but we knew better. Some things, once woken up, leave a permanent mark. And we, the three of us, now carried the permanent mark of the Weaver, a silent reminder of the horrors hiding just out of sight. We had figured out the mystery, but knowing what we knew came with a price. A chilling understanding of how truly dark things can get in the hidden corners of the world. What do you think they'll do now, after what they've seen at Blackwood Place?